The air smelled of spring, tinged with early blooms and wet grass. In a small Midwestern town nestled between quiet woods and dusty highways, Easter always arrived with familiar rhythms: church bells, pastel eggs, and baskets left at doorsteps. On the outskirts of town stood an old farmhouse, faded, cracked, and overgrown. After years away, Thomas returned. It had been his grandparents' home once, left to him after their passing. With a recent job loss and nowhere else to go, he moved in just before Easter weekend. The house was cold, filled with dust and forgotten belongings. He found an old Easter box tucked inside the attic, ceramic bunnies, hand-painted eggs, and a cracked photograph of his grandmother smiling on a long-past Easter morning. He placed the box on a shelf, unaware of what he'd disturbed. That night, a soft tap-tap echoed through the house. Mice, he thought, or wind. He slept in the old guest room, wrapped in the scent of mothballs and old wood, but something in the house had awakened. Easter morning brought strange warmth. Light streamed through cracked blinds. Outside, no children played. The neighbors were few and elderly. But at his doorstep sat a wicker Easter basket, freshly made, decorated with purple ribbon, eggs inside, and at its center a large hollow chocolate bunny. No one had visited. No one knew he'd returned. There were no footprints in the dirt or dew, no note. The bunny's face was odd, eyes uneven, smile slightly cracked. Something about its shape felt wrong, as if molded by something not human. He set it aside and went about the day. Later, he noticed the ceramic bunny from the attic had moved. He hadn't touched it since unpacking. Now it sat at an angle, turned to face the door. The air grew heavy. That night, something moved in the hallway. Floorboards creaked in long, slow intervals, too slow for a rodent, too rhythmic for pipes. Shadows pooled under the door. He didn't sleep. The next day, the house reeked of sweet rot. He traced the smell to the living room where the basket still sat. The chocolate bunny had started to melt, but not from heat. Its form warped inward, like it had imploded slightly. The smile was deeper now. The hollow inside was no longer empty. He split it open. Inside, he found a crumpled Polaroid, faded and aged. It showed a child sitting on the porch of this same house, holding a similar basket. The child's eyes were blacked out, not scratched, not burned, just black voids in a human face. More unsettling was the background of the photo, a shadow shaped like a man in an oversized rabbit mask standing by the tree line. He searched the house again, but empty. That night, he woke with a start. The sweet, rotting scent had returned, stronger, thicker. He walked to the kitchen and found muddy footprints on the floor, small, childlike, but not barefoot, rabbit tracks. They led to the basement. He opened the basement door. A breeze of warm, stale air rushed upward. The lights didn't work. He used his phone flashlight to descend. The concrete steps groaned. The air turned heavy, moist. He found melted chocolate splattered across the floor, dark streaks leading behind the old furnace. He moved it aside and found a wooden hatch he'd never seen before. Inside, stairs led down to a deeper crawl space, a hidden sub-basement filled with discarded Easter decorations. Stuffed rabbits hung from nails, dozens of Easter baskets, each with names scrawled in red marker. Children's names, some crossed out, others repeated. In the center sat a larger figure, a statue or perhaps something else, draped in fur with a rabbit mask stitched onto what looked like skin. In its hands, another basket, and inside it, another Polaroid. The photo was recent. It was him. Standing in the hallway, he immediately ran after seeing the photo. He tried to leave the house that night, but the car refused to start. Phone service was dead. The old landline clicked with static. He locked every door and tried to wait for sunrise. At 3:33 a.m., the doorbell rang. He did not answer. When he looked through the peephole, no one stood outside. Just the basket. A new one. This time, filled with dirt and worms, and at the center, a broken child's tooth. He smashed the basket. He burned the chocolate. He tossed every decoration back into the attic. But the smell remained. The noise continued. From behind walls, he heard laughter, small feet scampering across floorboards that shouldn't creak. At one point, the ceramic bunny shattered itself from the shelf without being touched. Then came the dreams, each night darker. He stood in a forest, the same masked rabbit figure watching him from the trees, its mouth opened wide, not a smile but a scream without sound. Each morning, new footprints on the floor. He tried to warn others, online forums, paranormal subreddits. Some dismissed him. But then, people began sharing similar experiences. In Ireland, a family received baskets every year with unknown candies, always delivered to the porch by someone no one ever saw. A child disappeared one Easter morning, never found. In Argentina, a man filmed something large and animal-like crawling into his attic on Easter night. The footage was corrupted within days. In Norway, a woman found Polaroids of her sleeping children inside a chocolate egg left by an Easter visitor no one in the family had seen arrive. Across the world, the pattern repeated. Photos, baskets, smells, hollow chocolate bunnies with secrets inside, and always, always the same mask. Oversized ears, glass eyes, and a grotesque, stitched mouth. He left the house for good weeks later, or so he thought. He moved in with friends temporarily, then to a distant city. He never shared his new address, changed phones, changed names. But one morning, on the week of Easter, he opened his mailbox. Inside, a tiny hand-woven basket, crushed petals, one small rabbit footprint stamped in chocolate. He checked his home that night, every corner, every room. But everything seemed empty, until he turned to the mirror and found something faintly scratched on the glass. It was a writing. The writing said, "You have been chosen." After reading that, because he was afraid, he immediately covered all the mirrors, closed all the vents, bought dozens of motion sensors, but it was all in vain. Every night the sensors detected movement in a different room. No visuals, no alarms, just a sweet and rotten smell. And he always got a photo when he was sleeping. Some believe the hollow bunny is a spirit, a ghost of a child sacrificed long ago in a spring ritual. Others think it's a cult delivering warnings through ancient symbols wrapped in pastel colors. Some think it's older, something inhuman, something that once mimicked springtime joy to move among families, watching, choosing. What is known is that every Easter, someone vanishes, often alone, often in rural areas, always preceded by a gift, a token, a bunny no one remembers buying. They say the hollow bunny doesn't come for children. It comes for those who return to old homes, old towns, old sins. Because something about Easter, its origin, its cycles, was never about joy. It was about sacrifice, and once you've seen the hollow bunny, you never truly leave. You just wait until next Easter, when the basket arrives again.